Good evening, afternoon, night, morning, whenever you find a way to watch or listen to this podcast. I'm joined by an old friend of the podcast, Brandon Costa, who Jackson and I interviewed earlier earlier in the year, after his
I want
appearance
to
in the
say it was like February or January. It's been a
yeah,
while.
it was February. It has been a while. I mean, time flies. I mean, I just moved to El Paso, so that was one of the first interviews that we did, like, after I moved to El Paso. But yeah, it's been
Mhm.
a while. It's been too long. He's wearing different colors for those of you from our last podcast, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But it's a wonderful week in the college football calendar, a week that's overlooked for a shame, honestly. It's Division III rivalry week. And honestly, even if you just do a Wikipedia search on just college football rivalries, there's so many historic Division III rivalries happening this weekend. Not just in the NESCAC, which kind of got me interested in Division III football and tracking it, but also you got the Manon Bell, you got DePaul versus Wabash, with not only the bell at stake but playoff implications, and just so many other. And you also got the Secretary's Cup, for the troops. If you need a warm up for Army Navy, you got Coast Guard, Merchant Marine Academy. It's just so many great Division III rivalries, and especially in the NESCAC, which again, the rivalries in NESCAC have gotten national notoriety. In 2007, College Game Day was at the biggest little game in America, Amherst Williams, which we will talk about, of course, in this podcast. But Brendan, I mean, I see you wearing the Williams college gear.
I am.
Do you
I
mind
am.
telling everyone why that is? All of our Bates fans watching the podcast.
Well, graduated from Bates in May of 2022, and I knew I wanted to get into coaching, and I applied for the job at Williams. I ended up getting it. So grateful for all the coaches on the staff, especially Coach Raymond, who's the head coach who gave me this opportunity, and it's been a blast to stay in the league, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got to be awkward. It's got to be awkward, I guess, like going back to Bates. Like, were there any people burning the Brendan Costa jersey when you got there, or did they even know that you were on the staff?
So we actually played Bates at Williams this year. And that was really cool to have them come down. I saw my old teammates. I saw the new coaching staff that's in there. They're doing a great job with that program. And it was really, really a fun time to not be teammates with those guys, but kind of just kind of go up against them. That was a really good time. So we all had fun on that day. And Williams won. I'm just gonna say I put that out there. Williams won that day, and it was a good day.
It's funny. I feel like you need one of those like house divided hats or shirts. It's like Bates on one side, Williams on the other. But I mean, it's just great. It's great, and at the same time, I guess kind of bittersweet to stay in the league and play against the school. I guess where your name is etched in the record books all over. But as I did a little bit of my research, I mean, they should be set for the next couple of years at quarterback, uh,
Mhm.
for sure. I mean, I was looking at the box score. I thought you played in the Bates Hamilton game, but I
Mhm.
mean, looking at the box
Mhm.
score and looking at that finish, I was like, wow, like an amazing
Unreal,
finish,
unreal. So
unreal, yeah.
that was our senior day, but I wasn't allowed to play because I had tested positive for COVID-19, which was upsetting. But freshman quarterback last year, freshman quarterback Colton Bosley had an incredible game, set the record for passing yards in a game. I want to say, in that one, he threw the last second touchdown pass against Hamilton to win the game to Christian Oliveri, and that was incredible to watch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm trying to find footage of that Hail Mary somewhere. I'll probably search for that tonight, so I'll have some downtime.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, let's get started. Brendan, great to have you on talking about NESCAC Rivalry Week. And I guess we'll start off with your alma mater, Bates versus Hamilton. I mean, both schools kind of struggling this year. It's only the 44th meeting in this series, and it's kind of weird because you have the Kobe Bowden Bates trio. I mean, someone's got to get squeezed out on rivalry week, and I guess it's Bates that gets squeezed out. Both schools are allowing over 34 points per game, and a trend I've noticed in doing my research in the NESCAC is so many of these schools are just defense oriented. It's almost like the Big Ten. I feel like a Big Ten type of football out in the NESCAC. Last year's game, Bates won 27-21, as we talked about, last second touchdown, with 4 seconds left, 48 yards. So what should we expect from both squads heading into this game?
I mean, they're both great teams. Bates gave us some problems. We ended up losing to Hamilton this year. I think Hamilton has a great defense. Their points per game that they give up doesn't show that, but I think they have a tough, gritty defense from watching them on film. Um, I just think it's going to be a battle of who wants it more. Like the last two meetings, Bates has won, and now they're going back down to Hamilton. Um, so I guess we'll see. I mean, the Bates offense puts up points very fast. Like they can throw the ball down the field. They have the ability to run the football. They have a good, strong offensive line. They have weapons on the outside. So that's going to be a test for the Hamilton defense. But looking at it in the other way, Hamilton's offense has some weapons as well, and that Bates defense isn't a slouch, even though their points per game is fairly high. They got some dudes on that defense that can play football. So it's going to be a war down there, and that game is always a war. It's always close. Two great programs going at it in New York. It's going to be about a 6 to 7 hour bus trip for Bates to get down there. I remember those trips when I was there. But that's going to be a tough game. It's going to be head to head the whole time. And I'm excited to see who comes out on top.
I mean, hopefully Bates comes out on top. I mean, I'd hate to be partial, but here we are. You mentioned that bus ride. Did you guys ever visit Niagara Falls? Is Hamilton by Niagara Falls or?
I don't think so. I mean, that's I want to say it's like 2 hours away. Hamilton's in Clinton, New York, um, kind of next to Utica College. I think Utica College or Utica University. I'm not too sure. Um, and then I think it's sandwiched between Utica and Syracuse. It's kind of in upstate New York. It's in a really nice part of it too. It's beautiful up there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember I bring that up because earlier this year we did an interview with Hilbert College's athletic director, a new Division III program this year, and they brought in they're independent, so they had to form a schedule. It was a mostly national schedule. They invited Willamette from Oregon, and I mean they made a whole trip out of it. And they brought their guys out to Niagara Falls, so not a bad gig at all. I mean, traveling across country,
Mm-hmm.
seeing a lot of water. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess going on to our next game, again, we got Tufts and Middlebury. Again, Tufts, I mean, three schools in Massachusetts, someone's got to get squeezed out, and Middlebury being the is it a stretch to say the best program in Vermont as one of the only college football programs in Vermont?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, based off of that, um, I don't even think. I think Norwich University is up in Vermont. I think too, but I think those are the only two that I know of up there.
Yeah, I
So,
forgot about Norwich too. I mean, yeah, just it's a great source of Army
mm.
officers out there in Norwich.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Tufts Middlebury, we got 65 meetings since 1915. Both schools score about 17 points per game. Last year's game was high scoring back and forth. We had Tufts winning 34-27. This game's at Ellis Oval, one of the oldest fields in all of America. What's your outlook on this game, Brendan?
I mean, I don't think the ball is gonna be run much at all. Like both teams really like to throw the football, and they do it very well. They have two very capable quarterbacks. Just from seeing them this year, they're very, very well coached on both sides of the football. Each team. This might be like the sleeper watch for somebody if they just want to watch some good football this week. Like if you want to see an air attack all over the field, like I would watch Middlebury tough. Like, that's going to be a very good game. Um, Excited to see who comes out on top there. I have a former coach who coaches at Tufts now. So when we played them, I got to talk to him, which was very nice. And they're very well coached both sides. Coach Ritter at Middlebury, I mean, he's been there for 30 something years now. He's an unbelievable coach. He's got that program to a terrific place over his years. And Coach Savetti at Tufts, the the head coach at Tufts is he's an awesome guy. He's a great coach, and he's got them playing really really hard right now. So that's going to be another war. Like we have two. The Bates Hamilton's going to be a war. Middlebury and Tufts is going to be a war, but more so of an air show, I think, in that one.
Yeah, I mean, looking at both these offenses, I mean, well balanced attacks, two good quarterbacks. You got Cole Kennan and then Michael Berluti. I mean, I gotta looking at their stat lines. I gotta ask, like, is it hard for a player in the NESCAC to get sort of in the conversation for the Gagliardi Trophy for best Division III college football player? Is it kind of hard for them to hop in that conversation?
I think it's hard because we don't get much national recognition just because we don't go to NCAA playoffs, which is what I think makes our conference so special. Is that we're all fighting for the same one thing that nobody else is kind of fighting for. We're fighting for the NESCAC championship, which I think is really cool. But I definitely think if somebody deserves it from our conference, and I mean, Michael Berluti's numbers this year are unbelievable. He's thrown for I think 25 100 yards or something like that. He's thrown for a ton of touchdowns. So if somebody's deemed worthy in this league, I think they totally deserve it. This is great football, all around, all 10 teams. Excellent football.
Yeah, and just great stat lines. I mean, yeah, Berluti, like you said, about 2,500 yards. He's got 20 touchdowns and 19 touchdowns, 3 picks, and Cole Kennan's got 20 touchdowns, 2 picks, a little bit
Mhm.
less yards. But both guys having great years for Middlebury and Tufts, and again, should be a great game. Like these offenses love to score. I mean, and they have good defenses, but again, I feel like the offense will show out more in this game. Definitely excited to watch for sure, especially like great uniforms too. Tufts got some great uniforms. I mean, who doesn't love powder blue?
Mhm.
Amazing color
Yeah,
right there. Um,
solid.
solid color scheme. Going on to our next rivalry, we have Trinity versus Wesleyan, and this one may be the game of the week in the NESCAC in general. The biggest little game in America has the national flavor and the notoriety, but this one is for all the NESCAC marbles per se, at least for Trinity. Wesleyan can play spoiler, but these are just two great teams. Trinity's at 8-0. They won 8-1 last year. Wesleyan's at 6-2. Trinity allows 10 points per game. Wesleyan allows 17 points per game. And for the history lesson, 121st meeting all time between these two schools. This rivalry dates back to 1885. Last year, Trinity won 14-7. So the defenses kind of prevailed in last year's meeting. So will that be the same case this year, Brendan?
I mean, they both have very high-powered offenses. Just seeing it firsthand, they have two very capable quarterbacks. They have weapons on the outside. They have running backs that can run the football. But I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I'm just going to call it. Both of those defenses are extremely well coached. They're really, really teched up, and they're going to play hard nosed football. So I'm going to say whoever has the best defensive day is probably going to win that battle. And yes, if Trinity wins, they would have gone 9-0 to win the NESCAC title. Do you know where the game's being played?
I'm gonna look that up really quick right now. This game
I,
is gonna be played at
I want to guess Wesleyan.
it's at Trinity this year,
It's at
so it's
Trinity. Okay.
in Hartford. Uh,
Okay. So Trinity's home. Obviously that's going to play a little part. It's going to be a big crowd. They're playing against their rival for the NESCAC title. So whichever teams plays the best defense that day. Obviously, defense wins championships. I'm going to bring that up because defense does win championships. Whichever teams plays the best defense is going to win that battle that day down in Hartford.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, they've got a great front seven. Trinity does, led by Noah Glantz, 11 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks. Great in the secondary too. I'm seeing some solid guys with a lot of pass breakup numbers in the secondary. So again, great defenses all around. And honestly, if UConn, did not have such a resurgent year, I think Trinity would definitely be the biggest story in Connecticut. But those darn Huskies and Jim Moore gotta steal some storylines from the Bantams. So it's just a shame. It really is a shame. But but going to a rivalry, I guess that matters a lot to you. I mean, uh there's not many three-team sort of rivalries and competitions. Of course, the most well-known one probably is the Commander-in-Chief's trophy between Army, Navy, and Air Force. So we got the Colby, Bowden, Bates. Is it a trophy or is it just kind of like a
CBB series, the CBB trophy. Yes, sir.
Oh, is a trophy? Okay. I was looking at Wikipedia. I couldn't find anything about a trophy. I was just looking at the all-time standings, but we got Colby versus Bowdoin this week, 133rd meeting between the two schools. It is the third longest or third, I guess, most frequent rivalry in Division 3 right now. Colby won 21-10 last year. Colby has won the CBB trophy 3 straight years, dating back to 2018. If you remember, there wasn't a season in 2020. And Bowdoin has not won one since 2010. Bowdoin is out of play for winning it, but they can play spoiler. They can have a three-way tie if they do beat Colby this year. Both schools score 17 points per game, a bit of a down year for both schools, especially Bowdoin at 2-6. So I guess what do you make of this one, Brandon? Like, what can we expect?
I mean, those main teams, you never really like they're I feel like we're very underrated. When I was there, especially Bates, Kobe, and Bowden. Bowden plays very hard nosed defense, and they have some guys on the offensive side who can make who can make plays, which is really all you need on an offense. And then Colby has a very sound defense, and they also have guys on offense who can make plays. So, and then This game means so much. It's going to be under the lights. It's at Bowdoin this year, I believe. It's going to be in Brunswick, which is an awesome place to play at night because they do the cookout right off to the side of the field, and the smoke from the cookout goes over the field, and it's like a smoky or it feels like you're in The Walking Dead. It is it is an awesome atmosphere to play a football game, especially at night under the lights. And it's going to be a war. Like all these games, like NESCAC Rivalry Week is all wars. Like all these matchups are incredible. Um, and this one's no different. I have no idea who's going to win it. They're both really good football teams, really well coached. It's just going to be a great football game. So if you're looking for a hard nosed football game with a rival that's right down the street from each other, I think that's a great game to watch. Colby and Bowdoin at Whittier Field in Brunswick.
Yeah, for sure. Whittier Field is definitely a bucket list stadium. Got an old grandstand. I didn't know they do the cookout on the side. I mean, that's
Oh,
just
it's
great.
last year when we played them. There was at times where I was like, why is like I could smell like burgers and dogs on the field. It's because the smoke was coming over the field and it was just hovering. It's a really cool scene. It's an awesome field. They have the old grandstand and they just built a brand new one on the other side. So they have two sides of fans and then they have their fans in both end zones. So it's an awesome place to play a football game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a bucket list stadium for sure. And it's kind of funny you mentioned the food, like you smelling the food and everything, like while you play. Like I kind of imagine like one of those like cartoony scenes, like those guys floating. They're smelling it like you smell the pie out the window, and they're just floating. Like mid game.
It's
Yeah.
exactly how it is. Exactly how it is.
Yeah, I mean, kind of childish, but geez, yeah, like I mean, just a great game for state bragging rights. I mean, they've been fighting for state
Mhm.
bragging rights for a long time. And again, like it's easy just to see college football in Maine and think it's just the Black Bears of Orono, but I mean,
Mhm.
Colby, Bowdoin, Bates, the CBB, it's a great rivalry. They've been playing
Mhm.
for ages, and of course Maine's
Playing
got no
forever.
sports. Yeah, they got no pro team, so this is it. Like, you know,
Exactly. Exactly.
so
It means a lot to the alumni. I'll tell you that. They know they remember their time playing in the CBB and it means a lot. It means a lot to the programs and it means a lot to Maine, you know?
yeah, for sure. And I mean, I guess just like a brief like aside, I mean, knowing a lot about minor league ballparks, like knowing that I think like the Portland Seal or the Portland Sea Dogs they got a team out of Maine. It's a Boston Red Sox affiliate. They got a beautiful park that's a mini Fenway.
Hmm.
Would love to see one of these games out there at that
Hmm.
ballpark. I mean,
I've
I
been
feel like
there.
it'd be
It's
special.
awesome.
You've been there? Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like I can say that I've also been there too because I went to the Fenway replica in South Carolina when I was in Georgia. So
Yeah.
it's like I feel like, hey, I've been there too, kind of.
They all
Same
have a
type of
green
stadium.
wall. There's just a big green wall and you know.
Yeah, all the Red Sox affiliates got a wall of some type because being a Worcester Red Sox fan and going to the first Polar Park football game last year. They got the Worcester wall. They just had to be different. They had to have the big wall in right field for whatever reason. I mean, but again, like, would love to see that game at that ballpark, and I would love to see the biggest little game in America at Polar Park at some point in my life. I feel like that would be an amazing experience. I mean, Harvard and Yale played at Fenway, and of course, we're going to talk about probably the crown jewel of all NESCAC rivalries. I guess now you can agree with me now that you coach for Williams, Brennan.
Of
So
course. Of course.
this is the 136th meeting. These schools have been meeting since 1884. If you don't know the history, watching this or listening to this podcast, it goes way beyond football. I mean, the founder of I got to refresh again. The founder of Williams College, or no, the founder of Amherst College, that would be Zephaniah Swift Moore. He determined that Williamstown was too remote, and so unable to ensure the relocation of his college, he instead set out with a portion of professors and student body to establish a new school in Amherst. So actually, I reversed that. So Williams was founded first, and then he thought Williams was a cow town, hence the nickname Eves and the logo, I guess. So he
Mhm.
moved and created a new college in Amherst. So again, like you have really not even colonial, but I guess like early American ties. You have everything
Mhm.
in this rivalry. This year again, gritty match between two defenses. I mean, Amherst allows 18 points per game. Williams scores 20 points per game. Williams won the 2021 meeting 24-19. This one is getting the great treatment of Nesson. All we need is Don Orsillo to come back from San Diego. call this game for just come back to Nest and then call this game. But Brendan, I guess you said you're gonna get as detailed as you can without giving anything away. No Spygate or anything. So
Nope.
throw it at me. Let's see it.
I mean, it's my first time in the rivalry. Um, Amherst is a great team. Um, always, I'm always big on respect your opponent. You can't go into a game being too overly confident or just not confident enough. It's my first time. I'm glad we're going to be at home. It's going to be 5,000 people there. It's going to be awesome. Like, I'm really excited to see it firsthand because I've obviously never been to this game. So I always had to go either to Clinton, New York, or I was back in Lewiston playing Hamilton. But I'm excited to see how it all unfolds. I mean, rivalry games, they can go either way at any time. Um, but I think our team's ready. We've had our ups and downs this year, but I think we're prepared, and I think the boys are going to get up for this one. And I know the school backs us up. I know their school's going to back them up. So it's going to be a backyard fight, but it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. It's going to be one of the biggest football games being played on Saturday, in my opinion. So I'm just excited to be a part of it. I'm really blessed to be able to have this opportunity to kind of be a part of this program and be on this campus, be in this area, and I love it. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's a beautiful scene out there in Williams. I mean, the only times I've been there was helping my cousin move into her dorm over
Mm-hmm.
the summer. But yeah, just a beautiful sight. And honestly, like I feel like not just this game, but I mean all the Division 3 rivalries that are happening across the country. I feel like if us as college football fans can just step back and just take a look at these games and the histories and just what they mean, not only to the schools, but just to the communities. Like that is the game of the year. I mean, these games are
Mm-hmm.
the games of the year for so many communities, like including Amherst and Williams too, and just like the cool like historical ties and everything. I mean, the founding of the schools. I know the Manon Bell had a Broadway play kind of loosely based off it, and they're still playing, that game. But I mean, I'm excited. You kind of you gave me that in the middle preview,
Yeah,
but I mean, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm always trying to get more, as a journalist, but
of
uh,
course.
I definitely appreciate the effort to keep things, very neutral and like in the middle
Mm-hmm.
there. But yeah, I guess Brandon, I mean, do you have anything else to add in terms of the NESCAC race? I think in terms of like conference scenarios, conference championship scenarios, looking at the standings. And you can correct me if anything. I mean, if Trinity loses, I think it would be a shared title with Middlebury. That's the only other conference championship scenario, I think. Yeah, Trinity obviously beat Middlebury, so
Yeah, yeah. I'm really not sure how like the tiebreaker works. Obviously, if Trinity wins this week, then they're 9-0 champs, undefeated. But I'm not sure what happens if they lose and Middlebury wins. I'm not too sure about that scenario.
feel like it's a shared title, I think. I mean, it's I mean, of course, there's like no playoff appearance to be given, so like no stress there. Obviously, better and if they give them shared conference titles, better than what some conferences do. I know the Ohio Valley Conference and FCS is doing a coin flip if there's a tie within their conference, which is just so ridiculous. So no coins flipped. I think it'll be a shared title, but yeah, I mean, again, it's like high stakes everywhere with all five of these games. And I guess two teams having conference championship winning scenarios. Brent, I gotta ask you. I mean, it seems like you're all in on coaching, but in the spring, with the indoor football leagues, XFL, USFL, have you given that some thought or
I mean, I've gotten some contract offers. I've gotten some phone calls from teams uh recently and back in back in February, March. I think I've played my last football for my career. I think I'm ready to start with something new going forward. Um, but I've had the opportunities. I've never capitalized on them. I think I'm ready to take the next step in the next chapter. I played football for I played for 19 years. I played since I was 4 years old. I'm 24 now. I think I've played my last game in my career, and I have no regrets about my career. I had a blast. I met a bunch of awesome people, and I'm starting my new path. So um, it's really rewarding. So I think I'm officially retired at this point in my life.
I mean, that's good to hear. I won't go Andrew Luck on you. I won't go Andrew Luck on you and boo you as you leave this podcast. But hey, I
Yeah,
just had to ask, because I mean, I know me as a fan of indoor football with not just one but two team, or actually three teams in a 4 hour radius of me. I'd love to see you play on one of those teams and just claim them as my favorite team. But
yeah.
great to hear. I mean, I'm excited to see where you go as a coach, and hopefully you never coach against Army. Just hopefully never coach
I
against
got
them for sure.
I got you. No
Just
worries.
please don't be in that position, please. But yeah, that's all I got, Brandon. Thank you so much for the insight. Really excited for all these rivalries for sure, and I mean I'll be keeping tabs on them. At the stadium out in Baltimore. Might even watch like some of the replay streams during the week of these games. But yeah, Brandon, do you have anything else to add?
I mean, thank you again for having me on the podcast. I would love to be on again. This is awesome. So whenever you need me again, I'm available. I'm here. I'm ready to talk some football. So thank
Yeah,
you,
we're excited
Omar.
to
It
have
was
you on. Yeah,
awesome.
no, thanks, Brendan. Yeah, we're excited to have you on, and can't wait to get you on with both me and Jackson. When we'll plan this out like way far ahead for sure. But
Awesome.
yeah, thank you again. Sound like broken record, but until next time, everyone, peace, love, and soul.